Listen, she's a beautiful young lady. And there's a lot of beautiful young ladies in the WNBA. But when you do that, you can't come down the line and complain about being objectified later on. It's not going to work with people. Whether it's right or wrong, it's not going to work. And when you do stuff like that and you're drawing attention to yourself because of that, that can be problematic for you.
Imagine that this is New Year's Eve. When Angel Reese uploads a picture to the internet that is more look at me than game, it blows up, and not in a good way. Stephen A. Smith becomes upset, and Reese's social media suddenly goes silent. But the real question is, was it worth it?
Here's the part that I like about the backlash. Clearly, it's something that a lot of people can't take. So if it's something that you can't take, maybe you shouldn't expose yourself to the backlash and provoking the backlash.
From WNBA rebounding champion to banished on Instagram, Reese's story serves as a warning to athletes worldwide. But don't worry, we're not only here to explain it. You won't believe what Smith said about Reese's frantic plea for attention and how it's damaging her future in the WNBA. Are you ready to go? Smith didn't hold back when he called out her attention-seeking behavior and compared her to the always professional Caitlin Clark.
Especially when the comparison is going to be drawn to Caitlin Clark, who isn't doing such things. That might not be fair. I'm not saying it is. And you certainly have the right to dress how you want and to do what you want and to live your life. But people have a right to have their opinions about what you put on display. And if they don't like it and they believe that it's not the right thing for you to be doing when you talk about building your brand, I don't know how you can argue that, Tori.
As the clock approaches midnight, Angel Reese appears in a stunning gown, poised to pop in 2025, but her fans weren't very excited about this performance. Reese posted this video on Instagram with the likely intention of making the internet go crazy, but it backfired horribly. The criticism was swift and severe, with comments that made everyone wince, including her diehard followers asking, "What were you thinking?" and realizing that she had made a mistake.
My daughters are fully aware. Daddy had better damn well not see an outfit like that on social media. Now, I ain't judging Angel Reese. Live your life. I'm talking about my daughters.
Right.
I promise you. I better not see that. Hey, they could be in college in LA, in Boston, or anywhere in between. Daddy will drop the mic, hop in the car, on the plane, or wherever. That ain't gonna happen. You said, I'm not having it. That's me.
This wasn't your typical New Year's attire. It was supposed to draw attention, and as things heated up, Reese looked stunning in a hardly there dress that hardly covered anything, posing and prancing in ways that had everyone gasping. Reese's social media accounts became silent, and then her Instagram abruptly disappeared.
She deleted her Instagram, and that's the most important part about all of this, because clearly she's uncomfortable with some of the backlash that she's getting because she deleted her Instagram.
Let's face it, this is about a young athlete who may have just heard about her own image, not just about a dress. Everyone is wondering what will happen to Reese, who is 22 years old and mature enough in the sports world to know better. But before we can even catch our breath, Stephen A. Smith offers his opinion, and I promise you'll want to hear what he has to say about Reese's surprise for the new year.
Let's call it what it is. I am not trying to say that she should be criticized or she is wrong. What I'm saying is by pulling it down, clearly you felt there was something wrong with it.
When Stephen A. Smith joins the conversation, you can tell it's serious because he has some interesting ideas on angels. Reese's stunt for the New Year, Smith didn't merely remark. Instead, he went into full dad mode, which is really disappointing. Let's examine his response because it's hilarious.
Yes, you are 22. Yes, you are young. And there's a lot of things that we didn't want people to know about when we were her age. Fair enough, especially me, okay? Because I'm 30 plus years removed from that age. I got that part. There was no social media then or whatever. But here's my point to you. She knows this social media. She is not dumb. She's quite a brilliant young lady. She's very smart, very accomplished. And on top of it all, she is in this age where she does know social media exists. And she has exploited it to her advantage. And so when you take that into consideration, that means you're mindful of the imagery and the perception that you're assisting in creating about yourself.
Smith first exposed Reese's hypocrisy before you could say double standard, saying that you can't later complain about being objectified because that will leave a mark. But wait, there's more. Smith wasn't prepared to let Reese off the hook that easily. This is where things get interesting. Smith made the decision to engage in a brief game of comparison and contrast. And guess who emerged as the shining example of how to manage your brand? That would be Caitlin Clark, who has been slaying it both on and off the court with no trace of controversy.
Here's what I have a problem with, Tori. Angel Reese, in doing the things that she has done, let's face reality. She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree. If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa for in the Final Four of the national championship, if that hadn't happened, Angel Reese's name might not be as big.
Smith didn't mince words when he remarked.
But what's not debatable is the fact that Caitlin Clark has handled her branding extremely well. Whereas with Angel Reese, sometimes you find yourself scratching your head and wondering what the hell she's doing. Like that photo right there.
Talk about a contrast that is obvious. While Reese is doing well, Clark is out here creating an empire. But here's the thing, Smith's criticism is more than simply a gaudy picture. He's asking Reese what her priorities are. Is she an influencer or an athlete? Or can she be both? It's like watching a high-stakes identity tug-of-war, and Reese looks to be losing at the moment.
You have to be cognizant that no matter how you step out of your house, you are now Angel Reese. And you will always be picked apart, unfortunately. It comes with the crown. You're a queen. You're beautiful, So you just have to remember that if you aren't ready for the scrutiny, if you're not ready for the heat, then, you just got to be mindful that what comes with it. You have to be mindful with what comes with it.
Smith's visitor added fuel to the flames with their thoughts. Reese seems to be playing a game of notice me as the rest of the sports world tries to concentrate on actual games. It's not a good look, in my opinion, and this is where it gets serious. Smith makes the excellent point that when you do things like that and draw attention to yourself, that might be troublesome for you. He also believes that this could have an impact on Reese's WNBA future, with teams watching you bet your bottom dollar.
It might have been a right or wrong decision depending on what she feels or what other people feel. I'm just saying that what's inescapable is that even though she's not Caitlin Clark, she's going to be reminded she's not Caitlin Clark with every good thing that Caitlin Clark does, because that was her number one nemesis, in a lot of people's eyes, number one.
In the realm of professional athletics, let's be honest for a moment. Your reputation is based on how you conduct yourself off the court as much as what you do on it, and Reese is currently off.
Number two, she was seen doing various interviews and what have you, talking about threats, talking about insults, crying about how people were coming at her with such venom and hostility, particularly in her last year at LSU, before she ultimately graduated to the pros. She brought up all of these things, which means she was aware of it. And if you're aware of it, you have to understand that that's going to be part of the judgment that comes against you, fair or unfair. That's what I'm saying, Tori.
Smith claims that her game is being overshadowed by court antics. Reese must make a difficult decision quickly on whether she wants to be known for her Instagram game or her game itself, since in the fast-paced world of professional sports, a star from yesterday could quickly become today's cautionary tale.
Caitlin Clark, the reason I bring up Caitlin Clark is because they're attached at the hip with one another, which means they're ultimately going to be compared, Tori. And when you look at Caitlin Clark is balling. She's a rookie of the year. She was one of the finalists for the league MVP honors as a rookie, breaking all types of records. She should have been on Team USA. She didn't choose to play in an unrivaled league. Her brand building has been incredibly impressive.
Time will tell what Angel Reese is next. Will she take Smith's advice to heart and improve her game, or will she intensify her attention-seeking behavior? One thing is certain, though. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We understand that watching this video takes up some of your time, so thank you. And let's get back to the action.
We have to remember one thing. She's not Caitlin Clark. And we can't ask her to be
Right.
anyone else besides herself, and
Sure.
especially not
Sure.
right here. We're not going to do that. We want you to be you. We love seeing the great parts of your journey, but we also have to remember she's 22 years old.
These two celebrities couldn't be more different. Caitlin Clark is enjoying her best life, while Angel Reese is stirring up controversy. Clark has been quite busy, and for good reason. She spoke at a recent Massachusetts Women's Forum, appeared on their podcast with football greats Jason and Travis Kelce, won numerous Athlete of the Year awards, and, of course, worked out frequently with new head coach Stephanie White. It's amazing to witness the difference. Clark isn't just talking big. She's actually making it happen. Clark is making steps and talking about new goals, while Reese is battling social media issues.
Understand that everybody's got their own taste, their own flavor, and certainly their own rights. But there are other people that's going to exercise their rights to be ultra critical about it. And then I'm not even talking about the outfit that Angel Reese has worn. I'm talking about the overall pressure of having to be compared as a brand to somebody who's conducting their branding with near perfection. That's what I'm saying. She's going to have to deal with that, Tori, whether she likes it or not.
The media is enamored with this tale. Clark is receiving recognition for her skill and behavior off the court, but that's a different matter. It's like a sports movie come to life. Let's examine Clark's work. She is creating something tangible. She's smart and charming. And while everyone is talking about Reese's turmoil, by demonstrating to girls that they can achieve success and respect without drama, Clark is motivating children.
Bosses are always watching. Whether directly or indirectly, there's always eyes on you, okay? And so you could be in a nice dress, you could be on a red carpet, you could be on the beach on vacation or whatever. What you post is what they're paying attention to because they're trying to measure what your intentions are based off of what they see.
How you manage sports notoriety is important. Clark is demonstrating to everyone how to stay relevant without controversy. All you need is talent, hard work, and composure. The distinction between the two is obvious.
I don't want Adidas, I don't want Nike turning her down because they don't see her as someone that's marketable. Because
Neither do I.
You know, and that's the pain that I had for her in this. But I want her to know, if she's listening, we're excited to still see you. Bring back that beautiful Instagram page and just learn from it.
Basketball is Clark's passion. After all, Reese is making news for other reasons, but ultimately, it's about managing pressure, fame, and accountability. That's the kind of victory that endures, and Clark is demonstrating that you can be a star without the turmoil.
Younger kids right now are also not able to see 40 years from now. You know, you post that photo, you're not thinking, what's this gonna do to me 40 years from now? You know, think about that. You know, when you post this, what's gonna happen to my sponsorship? And my last thing is, if you're a young member of society today and you have social media and you are big time, just remember that you need to have advisors around you. Paid advisors, as well as people who knew you before your fame.
That's great advice.
Because
That's great advice.
Let's start by discussing the cost of fame. Does Angel Reese think that all this attention-seeking is worth it? Let's start by talking about hard cash. Sure, scandalous posts may get more likes than a scoreboard over time, but do they truly cover the costs? As it happens, they sort of do, or at least they did prior to this entire debacle.
the people right now who are going through this, who are facing these moments, who are thrust into the spotlight, take a look at your advisors around you. Do they have your best interest? And if you do get pushed back in this way, ask yourself, who were the people around me during that time? And what do they say about this? And keep that in mind, because your reputation, at the end of the day, you have the power over that.
Reese was sitting pretty with endorsement deals from big names like Reebok, Beats by Dre, and Amazon. We're talking about an estimated $1.8 million, which isn't bad for a 22-year-old, right? But here's the thing, those lucrative partnerships are now barely hanging on by a thread. Brands aren't exactly up to be associated with controversy. It's like Reese just fumbled the bag and is now struggling to get back on her feet. You know what's crazy? Before going dark, Reese had an incredible 5 million Instagram followers. That's a lot of eyes and potential influence gone in an instant. But hold on, let's talk about the long-term repercussions. Will WNBA clubs think twice next time? Reese's contract is up for renewal, and that's the main concern. Keep in mind that Kyrie Irving lost a lot of endorsements due to his social media antics. Might Reese be following in her footsteps? It's a risk that could launch her career more quickly than a poor coaching decision. Let's now take a moment to be realistic. Reese is only 22 years old. Are we being too hard on her or not hard enough? Some fans are anxious that she doesn't have the correct people behind her. It's like watching a rookie try to play without a clear strategy. You want to support her, but she's making it difficult. This is where things become complicated. Does Reese want to set this example for her younger admirers who look up to her? It seems like she's giving a masterclass on social media 101. The takeaway isn't exactly the legacy you want to leave. Reese just discovered the hard way that fame has two sides. However, in athletics, it's more important to complete than to start. So let's see if she can make this setback into an unforgettable comeback tale.